Does this say I'm live? It says I'm live. I've had nothing but internet issues all day. Yes, I'm live. Simon's going to join us very soon. I just wanted to make sure everything was going. Banners are on. Ticker. I can see myself. I can see everything is going. Great. Thanks for joining us. There's no one there. That's cool. People can hear me. I can hear myself, which is great. Great. Okay, so we are going to hopefully have a bit of a show this evening, and Greatvanzinni should be on the show. Like I was saying earlier, I've had nothing but bloody internet issues all day. So hopefully I've managed to sort all that out. Hopefully. Let's find out. Got the Marshall stack going. Been doing some picture framing. Yeah, thanks for joining us. All things sticky fingers, we're on. Let's go. Got someone here. Waiting for Simon to jump on. Good to see my computer hasn't crashed yet. I can hear myself. I can see myself. Everything is good. Everything is good in the world except for coronavirus. We don't like coronavirus. No. Okie dokie. Hey now. So I've had computer issues all day. I've had an update which has done something to my computer, so I had to disinstall or deregister some programs.
Oh, no,
So
really?
yeah. We're live too, by the way. I just wanted to check that we were live before.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We are live.
So, yeah. G'day, Arvin. So, how's your internet been? How's your connections going? Any updates have had any negative effects with you?
No. What is that? A Windows update?
Yeah, on my laptop.
No,
Yeah,
but I'm
okay.
not doing it. This is an iPad. Waving my finger around and I've got an iPad, which I'm doing the camera stuff on. So
You can't beat Apple, eh? When this laptop dies, I'm gonna get a iMac.
I bloody hate Apple anyway.
Oh, do you?
Because I'm such an idiot. No, I don't. It's all right. I just somehow, because I've always been a PC bloke. I'm a PC bloke. Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, me too.
Yeah. There are like little things. You know what it's like? Always the tiny thing, like not having a delete key. Right. I find drives me bananas. The other thing is that, and this is, by the way, this is operator error. This has got nothing to do with it's all to do with my inefficiency and stupidity, and nothing to do with that. Is that You know that thing where you spell a word wrong and the bloody letter in the middle's wrong, and then you try
Yeah.
to get the cursor in the middle. Oh man, I can't make that work at all. I'm just hopeless, and therefore it drives me bananas. You don't have to delete the whole word and then retype it in again, and that's I find that massively frustrating.
I've had four iPads, Simon, and I
Yeah.
love them. I love
They're
them.
fine.
I think they're
This is
fantastic.
this is what I put an Air 2, so it's what 5 years old now, 5 years old, something like that, and maybe more. But it's fine, for this sort of thing. It's got a really good camera.
Yeah, I use my iPad for everything: reading, all my apps, my social. I only use my laptop for. And I bought this laptop because the other laptop that I had was just ancient, and I couldn't do live streaming with my iPad. You see, so I had to buy this.
Oh right, okay. Why couldn't you do live stream with your iPad?
Because back then Google Hangouts, you couldn't.
Oh yes, okay. It couldn't run on.
Yeah.
On iPad. No,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. You couldn't run Google Hangouts through YouTube together on the iPad,
right?
Which was an interesting little situation. But other than that, I couldn't imagine my life without my iPad.
No, the only side of my foibles. Good morning, Arvin. How you doing? Hope you're good. Aside of my foibles with Apple about the spelling bit, which is funny. I think the only other thing that I wish they did that they don't is I wish you could run more than one program on it at one time. So I wish I could have this running and then do something else on it as well.
Well, that's when you buy two. You have one there and another one there.
One for each hand.
Yeah.
iPads
and stereo. iPads and stereo.
The iPads and stereo. Yeah, well, there is that. Of course, I am missing the point, but I let you. And I also have this as well. Let's go a bit further, which is my Chromebook, which is what I use for my laptop, which is really cool. It's not. It's a £200 thing, but it's really good because it doesn't have. It's a very stripped down operating system, bloatware.
I'm going to do some showing off.
Go on. Got a new telly.
No. I cut this out and replaced the single coil about 3 months ago with one of the pickups that I exchanged from my Epiphone ES355. I put in some new pickups, so I grabbed one of the pickups and just put that in there.
Epiphone pickup, is it?
Yeah, the one that comes standard.
Yeah.
So I grabbed my jigsaw and I cut that out and I put that in, but I didn't wire it up because I'm not a wiring guy. But today, because I got plenty of time. Yeah. But today, so tomorrow I'm going to do. Tomorrow I'm going to do some videos and just upload them on my gear because I keep talking about it. But this works really well.
Does it? Yeah. Well, even that's disparaging. I shouldn't say it. The Epiphone pickup is fine. Works fine in there.
Yeah. Well, because this is only that's a custom vibe. It's a custom vibe telly that I've set up permanently in OpenG. But it sounds good.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah. So you turn it into a custom telly. Well done. That's really cool.
And you can see my relic in there. Does that look like it's been in a couple of honky tonks?
It looks as though Johnny Beans owned it for 20 years. Yeah, it does.
Does it look like it's been around the world?
The back is a giveaway. Look, there's no relicing on the back.
And I've even taken off the spare because it's all set in OpenG, so I took that off.
Took the E string off. Yeah. It's cool. Yeah. It's fun.
But one day,
modding is
one day
fun,
I might get rich enough to buy a proper telly, Simon, and set it up for OpenG. I had a telly, had a couple, but I was too scared to set them up in OpenG, to relic them.
Oh, okay. You can set them up in OpenG without relicking them, can't you? Or was that part of it?
I just wanted a relic, Keith Richards kind of, guitar. But one day I'll do that. Have you seen Dave's Open G Telecaster? He bought one from China.
Did he?
Yeah, I think he's.
Cool.
Ask him next time you're having a chat to him. Ask him to flick some photos through to your messenger, because I might even have some. Shit, it's good.
Yeah. And it's the point about Fender, isn't it? They make perfectly decent, good instruments from China. It's all fine, because we've said before, those things are all about. To me, it's all about QA. It's all about the quality control. How do you make sure that quality is maintained? I know they're using the most expensive of parts and things, but so that when a guitar turns up at a customer's house, wherever shop, that it's in good nick, playable, frets are okay.
Arvin, you ask a good question there. I'm going to tell you something, and I'll get you to have some opinions tomorrow, because I'll do some sound tests. But I actually think the bridge pickup sounds better by itself for those Rolling Stone tones than with the humbucker.
Wow.
Hey, Sonia. Vanzini, are you keen to jump on? Do you want me to email you the link? Are you keen?
Definitely. Hope you're all doing well, keeping safe and well, hunkered down in your bunkers. We're doing all right.
Hey,
you, Andrew, you all right? You and yours all right?
Yeah.
Keeping away from the virus.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, so Vanzini is going to jump on, so that's cool. Arvin, anytime you want to jump on, you have an open invitation. Okay. So don't. I feel I have to ask that or say that, because we've asked him a few times. Come
on, Arvin. Yes.
And Sonia. It doesn't have to be doesn't have to be a guys only program, Sonia.
It doesn't know. That's all the better for not being a guy. In many ways.
I'll send you the email. Greatvanzinni for the link. Hold on, that might take me a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. That's all right. So, what's been happening in your world in the last couple of days? Anything useful?
Nah.
Been having lots of fun, I guess, have you?
Oh, I'd rather,
reading a few books, playing a bit of guitar.
I'd rather be at work.
Still rather be at work.
Yeah.
Look at that. God, it's only me. Pretty big all of a sudden. That's very exciting. Yeah, I've always wondered about Arvin. I've always wondered about those custom tellies, with the two humbuckers. Look like fun, don't they? In a fun sort of way. Oh, they always come back.
So where are we? 3 o'clock.
Yeah, in Greatvanzinni's great list of things he's got on. So is everyone coping with the lockdown okay? I notice we're starting to get into a groove about it a bit, except I still have to work. So there's a bit of mayhem going on around my while I'm trying to work, but we're doing all right. I don't know what it'll be like another 4 weeks or something, but right now we're doing all right. It's very strange not going out at all. Quick run around the garden or something to. Sonia's going to say she's coming next week. That'll be cool, Sonia. Hold on. Yes, please. Arvin, I notice is still maintaining his his distance quite rightly. God. So yeah, I've been playing quite a lot of guitar. I've got my gold one out to play, which has been cool. What else? What have you guys been playing? What have you guys in the chat been playing? I don't often get my guitar. My gold guitar gets a lesser run out than it should. And every time I get it out, I go, I really like this guitar. That's really cool. And then I'm yeah, getting to those humbucker sounds is really cool. Marvin, you're right. It's not too bad for you. Let's hope you can't catch it via the internet. It's it's interesting. So, early morning tea. It's good for the soul, if nothing else. Are you winning, Andrew?
So I've got two Andrews in here.
I don't know. You went off and came back again, or I got big on the screen. Like that, and then it went back and you were back again. Does that mean there's two of you on there somehow? I don't know how you can do that. Oh, Sonia, what 40-year-old guitar have you got? It sounds like right up my street.
Okay, Greatvanzinni. So I can hear echoes.
Can you? What, of yourself? Or me as well?
What's going on here?
Arvin, they're not new glasses. They're my second pair because my first pair broke. Because I'm a cheapskate, I buy them just from the supermarket, so I'm only reading glasses. But they broke. One of them obviously dropped them one too many times, and it broke there, and not underneath, and the lens fell out. so I had to dig out my another pair. At least they work until I go to the supermarket, and I'll get another pair of those, which I like slightly better. But PVT 15, Sonia, I don't know what that is. So myself, I can have a look though. PVT 15.
Okay, Greatvanzinni. Did you get the email? There he is.
Oh gosh, yeah.
He's onto it. Greatvanzinni.
Hi.
I love your name. Can you tell us? Can you tell us how you got the Greatvanzinni?
I'm also a photographer on the side.
Oh, awesome!
And so we always thought about. There was a famous photographer here in the States in the 1940s named Ouija, and he was like the Great Ouija or something. So we all took on nicknames, and
that was yours, was it?
And that was mine. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yep.
I always wonder how people come up with their nom de plumes on here. Yes. Well, the one thing we know about Arvin is that his name's not really Arvin, but
I see. Yeah, we used to joke we must have Italian in our family because we all loved Italian food, and so we all took on Italian
type names. Did you?
Yeah. My brother is Vannetti, you know. So let's see, live comments. There we go.
Ouija, wow. Oh, Ouija was great. I like these photos.
Ouija was great. Okay, so Arvin knows all about Ouija.
Yeah.
Ouija. I don't know all about what's Ouija. Did I miss it? Oh.
He was a photographer in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, like a New York photographer.
Oh, okay. What, the classic black and white type shots?
Oh, absolutely. Big camera. Yeah.
Old
school. Yeah.
Yeah. Loads of classic photographs, isn't it? There's one of those big press photographers and a large cigar on and stuff.
He always had a cigar in his mouth.
Always had a cigar, yeah. That's pretty cool, yeah. Well done him. That's interesting, yeah. So he's obviously well known in America.
Well, amongst photographers, I think, yeah.
Right. So what did lots of like social stuff, groups and people and.
So I'm going to get the show up and running there, Greatvanzinni. So I noticed that you had a guitar there.
Got a guitar
on your lap.
Yes. I have such limited room here. I can only do a little bit of show and tell. So,
Okay.
if you so desire, I don't know, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
you
no,
know,
Oh,
yeah, no,
most
we're
we're always
keen to.
keen.
The whole idea with the show was to, get people on, that were interested in British blues and sort of come from that perspective. And the fact that you were listening to Clapton when he was recording and releasing the stuff in the mid 1960s is fascinating for me
it, it was it was it
personally.
was it was dumb luck. We didn't know, we didn't know who Eric Clapton was when I bought the Beano album.
Wow.
He hadn't quite hit it big, and I spent about 3 weeks going to the record shop and looking at the Blues Breakers versus the Blues Crusaders. Which one should I buy?
Oh,
And so
really? That was one of those sort of choices. What did
yeah,
you
and I
get?
thought those guys look pretty cool, sitting there reading that, and
Obviously, the Blues Crusaders not quite so cool.
I never heard of them again, so I don't know.
No.
I don't think that was the band that became the Jazz Crusaders later. I don't think. I'm a big fan of theirs as well. So
So
Yeah,
did
yeah.
you
I can.
graduate to Cream after
Oh yeah,
listening? Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Uh, I was thinking about the whole thing where somebody wrote on the side I saw a picture where they wrote Clapton is God, and I remember having that conversation with a friend, how it was really, you know, it wasn't serious. It was a symbolic kind of
Sure.
thing, so it was interesting. So,
Did you ever see Cream at all, Great
no, I
Vanzini?
never did. I just missed the Yardbirds, and I don't know. That probably would have been about 67, I would think. And they played at our armory, and they were so loud. I heard later that people who saw them said they were the loudest band they had ever heard. And I actually kind of heard them. It was a nice summer night, and I got up on my rooftop, and we lived about a mile from where the armory was. And I could actually hear, I spent about an hour up on the rooftop, and I could just hear through the air, I could identify the songs, and
What the perfect sound
yeah,
a
I don't
mile
know who,
away.
I'm not sure who was playing with them at the time. So,
67. That would be Jeff Beck, wouldn't it?
that's what I was thinking. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I might start you off with a tiny little piece. See if
Hold
I
on,
can do
Oh,
this.
look. Oh, look at that. Yeah, look. Blimey,
And
yeah, look at
so which
those
one is you?
amps.
well, I'm not in that picture. That's my older brother's band, and that's
Right,
my on bass is my middle brother,
right.
and
Wow,
on the Stratocaster, that's the '62 Strat.
that one there.
Mm.
Yeah, and yeah, and that's my oldest brother. So and
Wow.
with magnetone amps.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Three. Yeah. What sort of PA did they have?
well,
Great
they
Imagine. Do you
had.
remember? They had
I
one of
can
those
tell you.
thin.
I can tell you exactly. They had a Bogan PA. I can't tell you the wattage. I don't remember because they came in 25, 50, 100s, I think, and they were just a very rough amplifier. And then they used those bullhorns that were about,
Hmm.
I don't know how big, about that big, and they put
Hmm.
them on stands, and they
On
were
the top.
like they
Well,
really
so you had
weren't
one of
made.
one of those on each side of the stage.
Yes, yeah,
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 two of
yeah,
them, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I love those things. Those
yeah.
shots of people. Those magnetone amps. I didn't know magnetone were going in the 60s like
And
that.
I
As
don't.
of course, Billy Gibbons plays magnetone amps, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So here's a
Wow.
my
Look at
ex
that.
girlfriend picked this up. Let me see here which page I can get here. Uh, but this is all the upcoming events.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
can see Dino, Desi, and Billy,
Wow.
and Peter and
yeah,
Gordon,
yeah,
and my drummer's
yeah.
brother's band in the lower. I don't know what that would be. The Yellow Balloon,
Right, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
they were kind of a feel good band,
Hmm.
and the drummer was Don Grady from a TV show called My Three Sons.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I remember My Three Sons.
yeah, and so
I do. Oh, Buck Owens, blimey, yeah.
Yeah,
Did
Buck
some
Owens,
quite,
and my
yeah.
drummer actually went to see him. I can't quite tell what I'm looking at.
All great bands. EJ. Bishops and Johnsons.
Those are men's dress
Oh,
shops.
fantastic. Yeah.
So that's social media, Greatvanzinni, a la
Yeah.
1967.
1960s social media. Fantastic.
Yeah, 19. I'm gonna guess 68.
68, is it?
And here's the now. Listen, you can go right ahead and laugh, but that's my band
Well
in
done.
there,
Which one are
and that's
you?
I'm the one that looks like with a stupid looking face, not knowing how to take a picture, in the back with the bass.
In the back. Oh, I see. With and the hair
Yeah,
kind of sweating. Yeah. Cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
yeah. Back when I had hair, and so we just went into the back into the music shop, and the newspaper photographer grabbed our picture, and
Wow.
um,
Yeah.
so we got in there.
Yeah.
And then we had to show up to the Peter and Gordon to sign autographs, which was that was about as
Yeah.
famous
Peter and
as
Gordon,
I ever
yeah.
got. So, and I just missed my drummer ran backstage and of course met Peter and Gordon, and I wasn't thinking, I didn't. So I would have loved to have had that honor. So
Morning, Dave.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
What?
that's wonderful. No, so it's a Wednesday store. Dave has popped in the chat as well. He's obviously finishing work. Or,
Oh
yes,
yes. Good morning.
Mr.
So
Mr. Key Worker.
he's in the UK.
He's in the UK. Yeah, he is.
Okay. I'm guessing from morning. So
Yeah.
so this is
Oh, look at that.
you know, the serial number says 2006, but on the back it's got one of those Stratocaster 60th anniversary things, which I think was 2004.
2004? No, 60. I've got a 60th anniversary Telecaster, which is 2012. So 52,
Yeah.
the Telecaster, isn't it? And that's the first.
Yeah, and the Strat was
54?
54.
54?
Yeah.
So yeah, that
54.
would make it 60th would make it 2014. So maybe it's one of the 60th. Mind you, a sticker is only a sticker, isn't it?
No, I bought this brand new
Right.
in right about 2006.
Oh, do you? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I love the pearloid
yeah,
scratch card. That's really cool.
all of them should have it. Now, this is where you get into it's one of those ones with the it's not quite out of phase. Is it series and parallel?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I kind of wish I'd have just bought a straight, normal, regular. Well, I did later. So, but it plays great and it sounds great.
How do you find those locking tuners? Do you think they're worth what they are? The locking
I
tuners?
I love them on my Reverends. I have to be honest. I've changed. I took this guitar out earlier today. I haven't taken it out in ages. I forgot it had locking. I looked at it and said, "Wow, that's got locking tuners." I totally forgot it had locking tuners, and I don't have any. I know I swapped the strings. I think it's the second set of strings because I just never play it. It's really in new condition. So
Yeah, it looks
What
really
about
nice.
you,
Yeah.
Simon? Does your tally have locking tuners?
My telly does not have locking tuners. My telly is completely standard.
Oh,
I
okay.
messed about with it.
Ah.
My Strat does though. I had locking tuners put on my Strat probably 30 years ago. I had a Spurzl locking tuners.
So you put them on yourself, or did they come standard?
No. I went to a shop.
Okay.
Had them put in. Mainly because the ways in which I'm an idiot cannot be be counted easily. But it used to. And because in 1988 when I bought the thing, you're sitting there and you've got the pole and then you've got the slot, the hole down the middle. You wind it around to it. Now, of course, in 1988, I had no idea how those things work. It was just like really annoying. It's like, why can't I have a hole? You wind it around twice and then turn it and it's fine. So I coped because it was my only guitar. And I don't know what I've done over the years, but I used to occasionally break strings then. I haven't broken a string on a guitar for years. I can't remember what I didn't do. But anyway, whatever I did then, I don't do now. But I so I decided that this was, to change a string quickly was really difficult. If you've got these, because I didn't know you had to take them 2 pegs down and then cut it off, run it around twice, and then it would all fit. No, I discovered this about 10 minutes ago. Never mind, 32 years ago. Stupid idiot. So anyway, so I went in the shop and said to the man called Steve Treble. There you are, Greatvanzinni. I have somebody I know who runs a record shop in Bristol, near where I live. And he's called Steve Treble, so he has the name.
He's got the right name, yeah.
He's got the apt name for running a music shop, but he's had a shop called Treble Rock for a long time. So I went in the shop, and he said, "Hey, we could put locking tuners on it." And I thought, "Great! You just shove it through, tighten it up, bingo. If I break a string, it's a 30-second job." So I had them changed, and that was about 30 years ago. So my Strat that I have has locking tuners, and as I say, he's had them on for about 30 years. The slightly stupid thing is I didn't get the old tuners back for some reason.
Yeah.
So I only have the Spurzels, but as they're practically contemporary, it's too late.
Yeah, I think they're on my Reverends. I've changed strings in a few times on them, and I just love them. I mean, it's just so quick, so easy.
Yeah. But I mean, my Telecaster has, the normal pegs with the hole through the middle, wind it around twice, plug it in, wind it around twice, lock them in, it's fine. It holds its tuning fine. What was I thinking? Well, only because, as I say, I didn't know that thing about winding it round the peg, measuring it, winding it two pegs further on, isn't it? The second peg further on from the peg you're doing, cut it off, run it round twice, and then push it down the middle of the peg, and bingo, it all works. And had I known that and been able to do it, yes, Andrew, I might not have done it, but because I had no idea.
I've had no problems ever with Stratocasters going out of tune.
No. Oh, it never went out of tune, as in it was all breaking strings, and I'm an idiot.
Or breaking strings. But I do have. I've always had issues with Les Paul type guitars holding tune.
I've heard that.
And is it possible for Spurzels to put Spurzels on Les Paul guitars? Are guys doing that?
I think so. You can buy locking tuners for Les Pauls for sure.
Oh, okay.
You could, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because that's something definitely I'd look at doing in the future, because it's that G string, that G and B string are always out of tune.
Yeah, so you could buy Clousons, Shallas, Grovers, Gotos.
Oh, holy cow.
Side things. Yeah.
Oh, holy cow.
Yeah, like, well, Clousons are in England, they're £67 from Stumac. Shallows are £57. They're kind of £60, £60 to £70. Yeah, but no problems about getting a thing. Although interestingly, my Chapman doesn't have it's my Gibson style guitar. It doesn't. Sonia, we would love you to come on. It would be great fun, really. It's a community show. So anybody who wants to come on can come on. Hear their stories and things. But my Chapman has ordinary tunes. It's fine. Doesn't It's what I find is once it's in tune, it's fine. Stays there. Really doesn't have a problem. It's just getting. I don't know about you. It's just getting it in tune. Getting it there requires. I spent about 10 minutes mucking about with it last night, and I was playing on the settee. Just making sure, because some of those, they're not quite in tune, and then I'm a great one for it needs to be in tune. Don't like it when it's not in tune.
Oh yeah. You're saying that's on your Stratocaster?
No, I'll go and get it. I'll show you. Hold on a sec.
I will grab one more here, Andrew.
Yeah, please do. And I'll be
it's really
back, I'll be keen to find out about some of the bands and the type of music you've been playing over the years. That has it changed?
Well, yeah. I think I had a big change back in the 70s.
There we go. Oh. Too many wires, too much wire.
Yeah.
So there we are. Let's see the headstock there with the rookie error of having the tuner still on it. So it's got the standard, turn them over, standard tuners.
Oh yeah.
And they're standard poke through tuners. They're completely fine. Take the plectrum out.
Can you hold it up so I can see the body?
I can. Hold on.
Just a pinch.
Because
oh yeah.
Because everyone needs a gold guitar.
Yeah, I've come very close. I've come very close.
It's beautiful. It's not. It's quite obviously solid mahogany body.
Wow.
Plastic on the back. See.
You and me both. I never take that plastic off. Yeah.
It's
So
it has.
Dave in the chat saying, is he the only one without a strap?
Dave, get on it, mate. Everyone, my first guitar's this part. So this guitar has, it has Seymour Duncan pickups in it. So it has. It doesn't have Chapman pickups. It has Seymour Duncan pickups. I can't remember what they are. They're kind of. Rob Chapman liked them a lot as a kind of, quite a. They're quite low outputs and quite, sometimes sounds quite telly-ish. I can get it to sound quite telly-ish and interesting. But he liked them, so he bought the last 66 sets of them, I think, so that he could make these guitars. So there are only 66 of these, but
cool.
That doesn't make a collector's item, mind you. But the other bit it has is it has a the tone pot is push pull.
Coil
and
split.
It puts it out of phase.
Oh.
In the middle position, I can be Peter Green. I can't be Peter Green, but it gives you that out of phase Peter Green sound.
Yeah.
Which is quite fun. Yeah.
Very cool.
But again, this is I know Chapman comes in for a lot of stick and stuff, but I really like his guitar. It's got a really nice sound. I like the sound of it a lot. The humbuckers are they're not too crazy, they're not. I mean, I've got another Chapman as well. I've got a sort of HSS one that had a HS5, I think it's Seymour Duncan HS5, which is like 14k pickup, it's like a metal pickup. So I replaced that with a Pete Thorne, a Thornbucker.
Something more manageable,
much more manageable, and give you that much more kind of. What I like is that I like the breakup. I like
and still wonderful sustain and tone and better tone probably.
Yeah. Well, it's what you like, isn't it? I like. I'm not a great fan of distortion, but I like. What's the other one? So I just. So really, I've just I like that breakup. I like that crunch. But I'm not a heavy metal guy by some distance. I'm a much more of a sort of lighter thing than that. And I feel that this does beautifully. It's not too. It's a bit solid mahogany with a maple neck, but it's really nice. I like it. I sort of bonded with it. And this interestingly, I bought it on the internet. I bought it from Anderton's on the internet.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't, so I didn't play it before I got it. So I didn't really know what to expect. But what I discovered, I think this is I'd had 2 Strats before this. So I'd never had another guitar that wasn't a Strat. What I discovered was that I obviously had to get used to it a bit because it has a different neck to a Strat. It's quite. Yeah, but also it's got kind of jumbo frets on it as well. So I had to get used to it. So it took me a few weeks to kind of get used to not pressing so hard, because obviously the Strat's got vintage frets, so it's got very low frets.
Yeah.
So when you're pressing, you're hitting the fingerboard. So of course I was used to hitting the fingerboard. Plus I'm heavy-handed, I think. So whereas this, because it has the, I was like, God, it keeps going out of tune when I play a chord. You need to not press so hard, so I had to be conscious about it. But
I have to do that. If I play for very long, I have to consciously think to not use a death grip.
Yes, absolutely. Depending on
Yeah.
the guitar. But
Yeah.
what I discovered was that after a bit, after it took me a few weeks really, but I discovered that I really liked it. And what I also discovered was, I think, more interesting was that I didn't care about nearly so much about the different profiles of the necks, the way different guitars played. I could cope perfectly. I know a lot of people, talk a lot about, it's got to be, I feel the neck, it's got to have the right feel of neck and stuff like that. And you go, all my guitars got different necks, and they're
Yes.
just
Yeah.
different guitars with different necks. I think I'm a bit, and this is giving myself some side. I'm a bit from the Joe Bonamassa school. It's like he plays all guitars, all of them. You know,
Yeah.
you put on your 59 Strat and then 59 Les Paul, and then you play a 62 Strat, or a 55 Strat, whatever. And they're different necks, completely different, and yet seems to play all right. Well, if he can do it, so can I.
That's
Well,
right. Yeah.
well.
Yes. Why not? Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, no, this guitar stays in tune fine. As I say, it getting the minutiae of tuning it is, especially with these. I don't know with these. I sometimes have to work at it. Because I don't know about you, but I hear out of tune a lot. I hear. If I play a chord or something, I go, "Oh, that's out of tune." One of the notes
Yes.
is slightly out. And it really
Yeah.
annoys me.
And sometimes I think I did a video on one of my reverends the other day, and I played a chord and I said, "Oh man, that's out of tune." And what it was my death grip. I was
Yeah.
I was pulling it out of tune, and then when
Oh,
I
that's
checked
interesting.
it, it was like just fine. So
Yeah. And you find one of them just a, just a smidgen out, just a tiny bit.
yeah,
Even, and yet I can hear. A bit of a. So how many reverends have you got? Greatvanzinni, how
I
many?
have three.
Right?
I
Can you
have.
show? Have you
Cool.
got one of them close by? You could show.
I don't actually. I don't
Oh no
have.
worries.
They're in the back room. Um, Two of them are almost identical. One's called a manta ray, and the other one's called a tricky Gomez. And they're semi-hollow body. I don't. If you go back to the '60s, Gibson made a version called a Trini Lopez,
Yeah, I know the
and
Trini Lopez
so
three three five.
the tricky Gomez is kind of a
Oh, I see.
very loose take on that. It's a
Nice.
six per side,
Of
so they're
course.
kind of a 335, and also kind of a little bit of a Johnny A.
Yeah.
Wow.
In that they're the back and sides are all one piece. It's just they
So,
route out a big, huge
Right.
piece of wood, and then the top solid maple. So
so what do you
So
play
they're very
on
light.
the Reverend? Bit of jazz or rock and roll or any?
I think you can play anything you want on those things. I mean, they have that ability. You can rock out with them. You can dirty them up, and they just do great. And or you can play pristine clean. And
So it's a 335 type guitar. Yeah.
it's a little different. One has humbuckers and the other has the Revtron pickups. And
Right.
I do like the Revtrons. They have a different vibe. They don't
Mm-hmm.
capture much of the Filtertron pickup quality, but they they have a little more bite to them. But they have a little bit of that in them.
So where are
Oh, right.
Reverends made? North America? They're a custom
They're
shop?
actually well, no, they're out of Detroit area, but they're actually all Korean imports from
Oh,
a plant
wow.
that and so they're all Korean, and then they bring them in and set them up here in the states. And in fact, the guy that sets them up, his name's Zach. And when you get your guitar, you'll see it signed by Zach on the back of the headstock, so you know you got the real deal. So yeah,
That's right. Yes, they are made. They're made in Indonesia, aren't they? And
Korea, yeah,
Korea, are they? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. Isn't Greg Koch play a Reverend? Has he
Yes,
got?
he's
Is
got a
his
new
Gristle
signature.
Master?
A new signature Telly. Yes, yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
And Mike Campbell
with a slight.
from the Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Doesn't he play a Reverend too?
I think so. Yeah,
I think he probably does. Yeah. He plays lots of guitars, doesn't he?
Yeah. Wow.
Apparently, he plays lots of guitars. Ooh.
yeah.
Yeah. They're cool. Yes, I've not seen Reverend. I've not seen Reverends here. I don't
You
think
don't see them here.
anyone.
I just happened to
Not
have a
either.
dealer that was carrying them, and he had the Tricky Gomez left. And the other one I ordered it sight unseen. So from Andy Martin's old shop, up in Portland, Pro Guitar Shop. He did a lot of demos on YouTube here.
Yeah. How did you find buying guitar on the internet and having it sent to
Scary,
you?
I was
Was
always
it?
most of them I bought new have been from. I've done it probably 3 times, 4 times maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
But I've ordered all of them from Sweetwater, and Sweetwater here in the States goes over them and makes sure they even. I guess I'm too good of a customer. They say, "What strings do you want on it, Mister?" And so they ask me. Yeah, that's the tricky. Mine's a green.
Wow.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I got a lot of feedback that people really like the green. I'd rather that's the color of my manta ray, and the manta ray is
Wow.
identical, except it has the 3 per side headstock.
And yours
And
has a vibrato. Is it a
yes,
Bixby
it's
vibrato?
it's a Bigsby. I think it's a
Bixby?
B30.
Wow.
Yeah, and they have roller bridge and locking tuners,
I'm
and
just gonna put my guitar down.
they don't go out of tune easy at all. So I mean, you can't dive bomb them, but you can. Uh, the work they do with Bigsby's nowadays. I remember the old Gretches. You would just look at it and it would go out of tune, And
So that's your one there, the surf green.
that's exactly, yeah. That's the video that
Oh,
went up
lovely. Yeah.
yesterday. Yeah,
So what
yeah.
are the
It's
pickups in
uh,
that?
on mine. They're Revtrons, which is Joe Naylor at Reverend has been a guitar designer and pickup designer for years, and so they're a take on the Filtertrons from Gretsch,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
but they're
Okay.
they're a little bit hotter, I think, and they don't have quite as much of that Gretchiness quality,
Wow.
but they still sound just great. And the other one on the Manta Ray is just humbuckers. But it's their own design humbuckers, which I have trouble telling what's a good humbucker and what's not sometimes. But on those, as soon as I plugged it in, I thought, "Holy smokes, that sounds good!" So yeah, I knew right away.
But isn't that the same with any pickups? Isn't it great?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm the same. That that finding pickup. I mean, I know myself now that I'm a lower output pickup person. As I've said earlier about my other Chapman, that
yeah.
I put the Thornbucker in. The Thornbucker's about 7, 8, something like that. 8, I think it
Just
is.
hot enough.
Just hot enough. So I
Yeah,
actually, it's lovely actually because you get that just that little bit of that little bit of
yeah,
breakup crunch, but it's still got quite a lot of articulation as well.
yeah.
The
I
blends
had
out
trouble.
nice.
I had trouble for a few days when I saw that first Pete Thorne Sewer gold top, and I finally looked it up and
Yeah,
saw the price, and that
yeah,
cured it.
yeah.
So that,
Trod on that
yeah.
ambition, no problems. Yeah,
Wow.
when we win the lottery,
Yes, right.
we can
Yeah.
all. But yeah, I too, man alive, I have that guitar in a heartbeat if I had the money for it. I love that guitar.
Yeah.
It seems to
So
combine all the best qualities of having a Les Paul, a dual humbucker guitar, and then being able to split the coils. And if
Yeah.
John Sir obviously worked at Fender for a long time,
Yeah.
so if anyone knows what they're doing, it's John Sir.
awesome.
Yeah. I just
You
don't
mentioned
play
Vanzini that
expensive
you're a
guitars.
Clapton fan early on. Are there any American guitar players or heroes that you latched onto early on at the same time you were listening to Clapton? Is it
Well, we all grew up playing songs and we didn't know the genesis of where they came from.
okay?
And one of the bands in Seattle did a song called San Jose, and my brother's band did San Jose, and we did something close to San. And it was kind of a bluesy tune, and it wasn't until I found years later I found a guy from Texas named Bugs Henderson who had played with Freddie King, and I
Wow.
found out it was a Freddie King, and I'd been hearing that sound, and of course Hideaway on the Beano album
Yeah.
really caught my attention, and so here I
Wow.
was listening to these songs, and I knew there were a bunch of Kings that played blues, and I knew BB,
A
I
bunch
knew
of
BB,
kings,
of
yes.
course. I listened to BB quite a bit because he was I could figure it out, I could kind of follow along and have a sense of what he was doing, but yeah, once I figured out who Freddie King was, I was all in. So, not
Did
that
you
I
see
play like,
Freddie King live at
no,
all?
no,
No.
I didn't. No, no. I saw Bugs, though. Got to meet Bugs a number of times. So,
Mm.
So we all always hear how important and influential the three kings were.
Mm.
When you look at say Stevie Ray Vaughan, for example, he talks about Albert King. Eric Clapton talks about BB King. So when you're a young guy in the States during the late '60s, early '70s, Freddie King, he's the man. People are listening to him.
probably
He's
just after high school, probably 19, yeah, early 70s or so is when I finally figured out kind of who he was and started tracking him. And he was, I don't remember when he passed away, but yeah, he was still around. I never got to see him though. Yeah. Well, Bloomfield was my hero.
oh
I guess
yeah.
if we're going to pick
Oh, mine
heroes,
was,
Bloom
yeah.
early on, you know. And on that album, I played bass mostly, but I understood rhythm. I understood chord work really well, but I still wasn't up to being a lead player. So I mean, when that first East West album came out, I learned every
Wow.
bass line on every song, and then I learned every bit of the rhythm stuff or the chord work that I could hear on actually the first two albums.
Mm.
And it was sometime later when I figured out what this minor pentatonic business was, and I really dove into Bloomfield. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's.
How important was that album at the time when it was released, East West? Were people latching onto it?
I wouldn't say that. Those of us who are more interested in the counterculture
Yeah.
were interested in it because East West itself was really something close to, in terms of psychedelia. It was the first song we had heard that was kind of in that vein of real, really way out there, almost jazz, pretty much, somewhere
Wow.
lying between psychedelic and jazz. So, and it's still an album I have to
Yeah.
pull out once in a while and play. So, yeah.
Yeah, an amazing record. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's kind of,
Uh,
and we've kind of said on here that I think the Butterfield Blues Band were like John Mayall's Blues Breakers. They were the
Yep.
American version of John Mayall's Blues
I think they
Breakers.
were, yeah.
Yep.
Actually, I just saw just last week, a documentary on Paul Butterfield called, I think it's called Horn from the Heart. And it was a
Yeah, that's
documentary
not
on
been
him.
released down here yet, but when it does, we'll be latching onto it. So, is it good?
I thought it was quite good, yeah. It really talked,
Awesome.
yeah, it talked about his start in Chicago. And
Wow.
he would go around to the, as a kid to the South Side, and hit all the bars and I think it's the South Side. I don't remember, but
Mm.
and play with Muddy Waters and people like that. So
So,
and
how old was he when he was playing with Muddy Waters?
well, it sounded like he was sneaking into bars when he was about maybe like 17 or 18, somewhere in there.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. And then Bloomfield soon followed. So
So they
Yeah.
had a reputation, didn't they, in the South Side? If you were sneaking into bars and you were any good, you were pretty good. If you were still there.
he was widely accepted, and they all talked about the white kid, who could
Wow.
blow the harp, and so
Yeah, it must have been. He was born in December '42, Paul
yeah,
Butterfield.
Wow.
So he
Okay.
would have been 20 and '62. So
yeah, that
maybe
was
a bit
right.
earlier than that. Yeah, wandering around.
Yeah,
Yeah, but yes, it's interesting that we made that comparison between the Beano album and Paul
yeah. So
Butterfield,
those
saying
were
that was very
probably
much a kind of
uh, I think East West was that the second album, I think. Yeah,
Yep.
or was
I
that
think
the
so.
first?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So whatever their first one was, I have those. I still have those albums, and I have the CDs. But yeah, so those were probably about my first two blues albums. Was Butterfield One and the Beano album.
Well, the first one was
So
called the Paul Butterfield Blues Band, and that came out in
yes,
'65.
yeah,
Yeah.
very rough sound and very rough recording. It sounded like they set up a microphone in the garage or something, and it wasn't that real high quality that we're used to, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
But
even
yeah,
the
it's
third
interesting.
even the third album after Bloomfield left, the Resurrection of Pig Boy Crabshaw, where they brought in the big horn section. Uh, that's just a masterpiece of an album too, and
So
it's recorded
did
properly.
did you get into the Electric Flag? Obvious.
Ah, yes, yeah. Well, yeah, because Bloomfield was there, and my other one of my other favorite bass players was Harvey Brooks,
Yeah.
who's off and on here on YouTube. Um, and yeah, Harvey was yeah. So that, and then Al Cooper did the Super Sessions album. That was
Yeah.
Yeah,
'68.
Al
So
Cooper.
I was 16 then. Well, it probably came out when I was 17. And the one album was with Bloomfield, and the second it was a two-album set, and the second one was with Steve Stills.
Yeah.
And the
Mm,
Bloomfield side still just blows me away. Yeah,
killer. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Al Cooper, fresh
yeah,
from his triumph with Bob Dylan.
yeah, yeah. I got to see him up at the Blues Fest do a seminar. It was really interesting. So
Yeah. Did he talk about his organ playing on Like a Rolling Stone?
he didn't during that session, but yeah, I've heard him talk about that.
Yeah,
Very,
yeah. It's a
yeah,
great story, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah,
Sneaking in at the back and play.
yeah,
I'm going to play on this. It was the last thing I do. Yeah. Find me an instrument.
Yeah, that
yeah.
Super Session album's a masterpiece.
Mm.
It is, and I never realized it till a few years later. All the horns and stuff it was just them playing, and they added in the horns at a later time down the road.
Oh,
Did they?
And
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. But yes, 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 because Al Cooper, what did he,
my
put,
memory. He was with the Blues Project originally, I think.
yeah, that's right, yeah. But in
Yeah,
the early '70s, he do, was it, he put together Blood, Sweat and Tears? Yeah, he did. He organised Blood, Sweat and Tears, and they had a horn
yeah.
section and stuff, didn't they? As a kind of,
Oh yeah,
so he didn't stay in them
yeah.
very long, but he organised them, 60,
And
70.
in fact, the guitar player in Blood, Sweat and Tears was also the
Yeah.
guitar player from the Blues Project.
Right, oh yeah, okay,
Danny,
yeah, yeah.
Steve Katz, Danny Katz, Steve Katz, I think. I don't
Steve
remember.
Katz. Let's have a look, hold on. I have
I
it
may
here.
be off on that. I don't remember now.
Uh, David Clayton Thomas, that's right. He was the, um,
You know what? Speaking of him, you know what I
Steve
have?
Katz,
Steve
Greatvanzinni,
Katz.
Steve Katz, yeah,
Yeah,
Steve Katz.
I was in a record shop at the little town where I retired from, down a little bit south of me. That had an old junk store, and they had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of albums. And I went through there and found this album that was a demo pressing from I don't remember what. I've got it somewhere around here. RCA. And I looked at it and it said, just lightly typed out with a rough label, it said David Clayton Thomas demo. And so I bought it
Right.
for, 50 cents and brought it home. And it's this really, really good. I don't know if he ever released the album or not, but a really good album that was meant to be a demo that somehow showed up here on the West Coast. So,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you often find those that and those things have turned up, haven't they? That sort of thing
Yeah.
turns up in
Just interesting that
somebody's
it,
somebody's record collection somewhere because somebody had it and then they sold their record collection.
yeah. Yeah.
And in that will be something 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 out there that's not. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a.
Well, I'll show one more quick one here,
Go on then.
and it's the yin and the yang. I got rid of all my expensive guitars
It's okay. It's all right.
because when I have expensive guitars and I record or play them, I'm afraid I'll scratch them. So I got rid of all my. Some were really nice. Some were kind of just old, and fragile, um, so I don't have that Strat that I showed is about the most expensive guitar, and it was like 1,300 and some new, I think,
Yeah.
back in the day. So, but
American Strat. Yeah.
this is the yin and the yang of it, and this is a
Wow.
1994 made in Mexico Strat,
Wow.
and uh, and I play this way more. Nothing really to show there, right? But I play
Well,
it.
except for the pickup. What have you got there? It's a
Oh,
piezo. Pickup?
no, that's one of those Roland digital, you know, that I hook it into
Oh.
a Roland unit,
Yeah, yeah.
and they're kind of cool. You can, if you want to have a baritone sax in your recording,
Yeah.
just do a honk honk in the back. It works quite well for that.
Can you,
And you can
Vanzini,
do a
can
little,
you show it again? Sorry, the actual the
yeah,
thing on the
the
guitar.
actual
Yeah.
pickup. Yeah. I actually have a Godin guitar that has it all built in that actually works a bit better. I'm just guessing that they have a new version. So you can plug in, and I don't remember how it works. You can plug in your regular, plug-in, and you plug into this. And I don't remember how you get them both. But anyway, you have a switch. You can switch to your guitar, and you can switch to this, or you can switch to both of them.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
there's a little switch there. So, and a volume, and boy, it's been years since I. Oh, and then you can go up and down instruments.
Wow.
So it's got different instruments on it, has it, Vanzini?
Every instrument you can imagine.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Just everything. Yeah.
Every instrument, really.
Yeah.
That sounds like a challenge to me.
Well, you can get lost in
Does
it
it
for. You can get lost in it for weeks. Of course, you have to remember about instruments that don't bend. Right?
Yes.
If you put it on electric piano and start bending your notes, it gets into weird right away. So.
But I guess that's half the fun of it, isn't it?
Coming out, you can play tequila.
Arvin, I did play tequila.
Stop that now.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite old songs.
Yes.
One of my favorite old songs. Yeah. Now I listen to the Wes Montgomery version mostly. So.
The cooler version, the cool version, Wes Montgomery, yes, as opposed to the champs. Yes.
Yeah.
Party version, yes. We have a bit of a tradition in our house, if anybody says tequila, you all have to go da 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 da.
That's right. And
in a ridiculous manner.
And if
I'm not suggesting it's cool or big, but it's funny.
A pinch of trivia: if either Jimmy Seals or Dash Crofts was in the Champs.
Oh wow!
Seals and Croft, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see which one.
One of the two was in the Champs, and I don't know if they were on the recording or not. Yeah.
That's funny, yeah. Well, it's funny that those sorts of bands had people in them, didn't they? That like that.
Yeah.
Who went on to do other things.
Yeah.
Well, Simon, look at the lead singer from the Clash. He was in a folk band. Joe Strummer. He was a folkie. He was singing hippie music.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yes. I mean, there's a whole backstory with Joe Strummer. I mean, he had a sort of R&B band called the 101ers before he was in the Clash. His father was a diplomat. That's not, Mr. Joe Strummer, the great working class hero, only had a diplomat for a father.
and then he goes and fronts one of the greatest. Well, I'm going to classify them as punk. One of the greatest punk bands in the world. So, yeah.
It looks like Greatvanzinni that the Champs had both Jim Seals and Dash Crofts.
Oh, both of them.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, both of them.
I don't think I knew that.
Maybe a bit later, but
cool.
And also Glenn Campbell.
Oh yeah, Glenn Campbell was
the great Glenn Campbell. Yeah,
he really made it around in the early days before he became big.
that
He was a
session
session
musician thing, wasn't he? He was part of the
Yeah.
Wrecking Crew, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glenn Campbell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great,
I mean,
great DVD too, by the way, that Wrecking Crew DVD.
I watched
Yeah.
it again sitting home,
Yeah.
I watched it again. So yeah. I was always a big Carol Kay fan.
Oh,
Yeah.
isn't she
Yeah.
cool on that DVD?
Yeah, she's really something.
Yeah. Amazing, yeah, and a woman musician as well in that sort of
Wow.
I watched that, by the way, I watched that ZZ Top. I went round and
You got that?
watched just really, yeah, I really liked it actually, yeah.
So what did you think? What did you think of what the producer did when they were recording that first album?
Billy Ham?
Yeah, fiddling
with the tuning a bit, so it just double tracking and then fiddling.
Wow.
Play it once, then fiddle with the tuning a bit and play. So it sounds a little bit out of tune, so you get a bit more depth to it. That was really interesting, wasn't it?
Had you heard that before?
No, I'd never heard that before. I never heard anybody say that as a technique.
Have you heard that before? We lost him.
Who?
Can you?
Oh no!
Sorry, Greg.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch what you were talking about. The Clash?
No, we were talking about
ZZ Top. I watched that ZZ Top.
I just watched that when you guys recommended it, and I just barely got to it on my Netflix.
No, we were talking about the producer of their first record. Do you remember he said he sent Billy Ham out to the barbecue place to buy ribs? And when
that's right. Send him out
because he said, right, record simple backing track, simple rhythm guitar, and then I'll fiddle with the tunings a bit, and we'll redo it. Because have you ever heard that before as a technique?
No, I'd never heard that. No, he wanted to get rid of him for a couple hours, so he said, sent him on a field trip.
It's like, and he comes back like, well, it was 25 miles away. Oh, it's around the corner here. Yes.
Yeah.
That was funny. But that technique for playing it, obviously double tracking, which is obviously but fiddling with the tunings a bit, so that you get a slight sort of dissonance. So you obviously
just
get a slight
pitch.
Fattening of the sound or something. So that
I would be real afraid to do it. I'd spend a lot of time and mess it up, and then spend a lot more time and still be there. So.
Well, what's interesting about that is it's yet another piece of kind of experimentation to get the sound you want, because obviously, you didn't have many effects and many, technical stuff to help you those days. So obviously double tracking, play the same thing twice, means you had to be pretty good at it. And it also means that people find ways of, I presume it was an accident that he found. They didn't ask him, did they, how he came up with this technique? But I presume it's some sort of accident, somebody played something and they played it again, but one of the guitar strings were a bit out of tune. And they discovered actually they probably liked it. I would assume that as well.
Yeah,
well,
and
what's
I think
interesting is that the guitarist, Billy Gibbons, obviously was a bit skeptical, must have been, and then they must have recorded something, played it back and thought, wow, that sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah, they probably maybe found it by accident almost initially or something. But, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I mean, you can only assume it was some.
Of course, now we double track everything.
All the time. So, everything's double tracked.
Cut and paste, isn't it?
Yeah.
These days in the thing. I've said it on here before, that that I'm, because I've been old school, that my admiration for even things that I'm not like huge fans of, my admiration for those early 70s records, that you went and did things twice, and you did it all live. You went to do it all yourself. You had to go around again if you wanted to. And the sort of, for me, the sort of the apex of that is that the vocal tracks for Bohemian Rhapsody. Whether you like Bohemian Rhapsody or not, Queen, if you can listen to them in isolation on YouTube. I mean, it's astonishing.
I got to do that.
Go and listen to them, because what you realise is that there are 4 parts. Yeah. And there's, I don't know, 2 or 3, say 3 parts on each, each part. So 3 voices. So you've got to do it 3 times. So you've got to do it 12 times. All those bits, and you've got to sing them each individual time right. you've got to go around it.
Yeah.
Once I've sung, I've done a do bit, and then you've got to do it again and again and again. Then you do the pie bit, and you do, but you've actually got to sing them on separate tracks live with what you've done before, and you've got to do it. And my admiration for that, is unbounded, because that's real. That's proper. That's not just cutting and pasting it on a computer. Just taking a few notes and moving the notes and all that.
I would imagine. Do you think they did them all in isolation in separate booths?
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
I would hope
individually. They go and sing their parts, individually, and then the producer.
And that way, if somebody did goof up, you wouldn't have to re-record the whole thing.
And they're getting pots and pans out and kitchen utensils to to create more of that background noise, music or tone or whatever that you want. What was another thing that they did too? They got the guitarist's amp, and they used to hold that out in the hallway or something like that, to get some extra effect. But you're right, Simon. They don't do anything like that now. It's all digitized. In the 60s and 70s, it was like, what can we physically do? And
it had to be in tune. You had to sing in tune, or enough in tune for it to be. And I think that you can't underestimate the quality of musicianship and singingship, if that's a word. That actually enables you to A, think of it, and B, then go ahead and execute it. Because it's not, that's long time. So it's not just doing it in, do it once in, and then auto tune it kind of thing, and muck about it so that, you pull all the notes so that they're all in tune and stuff like that. This is just on tape. It's either right and it sounds brilliant, or it's wrong and you go back and do it again. And you've got to do it 54 times or whatever it is. And my admiration for those doing those things. And Kubrick Lover, I mean, Van Halen, their first album was recorded live. I know that, pretty much, getting a studio. I think that doing that gives those records a special vibe. I think,
certain sound quality. Yeah.
A certain, there's a bit of a trade-off, because obviously you're, the sound, you get a bit of bleeding between instruments and stuff like that, which I've never worried about too much. But because for me, all the great records have, are people playing live, and that's what they do. 4 people in a room. Led Zeppelin did it. Most of their records, all the basic stuff is done live, live in the studio. Now, Jimmy Page would do overdubs afterwards, of course, guitars, and they probably redid the vocals and things. But
Page would do another thing too. He'd hang an amp off down one of the stairwells on a house that he lived in to get a different effect. So again, you've got images of Keith Richards throwing TVs out hotel windows, and you've got other musicians hanging amps off landings to try and get a different effect. Yeah. Speaking of amps, Vanzini, one of the questions in the chat early on, I think it was from Arvin, he's asking what amps do you use?
Oh, did I show you this?
A Quilter microphone? No.
Did I show you this?
Holy cow! So that's an amp.
That's a 45-watt amp through 4 ohms, and through 8 ohms, which I think are 4 ohms more traditional in the UK, maybe.
4 ohms, yeah.
A lot of Vox and stuff, and here in the US, 8 ohms is quite common. Yeah. So through 8 ohms, it's still 33 watts. So
wow,
that's what it's.
Fantastic! Look at that, yeah.
I don't. I've never had big amps. I have. If I had to play live today, I would use a Fender XD Champ, 15 watts.
Yeah.
And through the head, I'd use the head through a Dr. Z cab, and then I output to something called a Tech 21. They made. I think we talked about this maybe somewhere I did, but a Tech 21 power engine, which lines out and gives you takes that 15-watt amp and makes it a 60-watt. And if you daisy chain a second one, you can do 120 watts. I mean, you can, and I think you can go up to like we recommend no more than 6 or something like that. You know, and you can just daisy chain them together, and they sound is all they do is take the sound of the amp. It's kind of a post amp instead of a preamp,
Wow.
and they do a very good job of it. And it just takes that tube sound and lets it go over to the power engine.
Just so this is I hope this is the Fender Super Champ.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
I have that one. That's the the combo. I have that too.
Is there a head
And
as well?
there's a
Fancy,
yeah. Well, and I like to take credit for creating
done.
the head. I wrote Fender and said you should build a head version of this because there's guys on YouTube that are taking that combo amp and tearing it apart and making their own heads, their own cabinets to put the amp part of that in a. And a guy from Fender, Dave, somebody wrote me right back, very polite, and said we have no plans whatsoever to do that ever. That's just not going to happen. And then 6 months later, they came out with a head. So,
Really?
yeah. So I don't
Wow.
know. I don't know. I doubt it, but I think they must have maybe started researching it, looked at it, and said, "Wow, there's a call here."
That's a picture of
Yeah,
the
there
head.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they just
Wow.
discontinued that, and it's got a digital overlay on it, but it's all it's a tube preamp and a tube power amp.
Well, you can
So what is that
you
again,
can still buy them
Simon?
from Anderton's right now. £339, 2 in stock.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a
What-
it's a. Hold on, I'll just get the specs. So it's the last revision. It features hybrid tube technology. It has 15 watts of hybrid tube power. Made in.
It's a Fender front
Fender
line.
Yeah.
No, not a front man. No.
No,
No.
it's not. No. It's sorry. It's a Super Champ
Super Champ.
X2,
Okay.
15-watt head.
Yeah, mine was called an XD, so they came out with a second version of it. Maybe even a third. I don't know. But so mine was.
Is it two? Is it 2 channels, Vanzi?
It is, but it's a push button 2-channel, but you can put a switcher in there, and
Foot switch.
if you go into the second channel, so the digital overlay has all those twin reverb, champion, British, all the dial in the amp sounds kind of, and if you, as I recall, if you go into the second channel, it bypasses all that, so it's just straight into.
Oh, okay, yeah. Preamp modeling can voice the Super Champ to sound like a tweed hot rod, a black-faced twin, and other modelled on famous rock and metal amps. Oh wow!
Yeah.
So has it got like a sort of knob which has the different things on it? Yeah.
That's just in channel 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
But most of the amps I use, I never had big amps, but I always I had. I think we talked about my Fender Excelsior. It was a 12-watt tube amp with a 15-inch speaker, and other than that, I have a Vox Night Train Mini. I have. I just bought a Katana a while back, and I'm really liking that.
Yeah. Is that absolutely? I mean, because that has the kind of updated that turn the knob for different amp sounds, doesn't it? Kind of thing.
Yeah, but I only use the clean mode.
Yeah.
And the clean mode, and you add some drive to it, gives a very nice. I think it sounds very much like an overdriven tube. I don't like the round mode or the crunch. I forget the other modes, crunch or something like that. For recording, off and on, I've used something like this. This is a Vox AC4.
Oh, nice.
With a 10-inch speaker.
Awesome.
And they made it. I on my video I last made, I said, don't buy this. Buy the one with the 12-inch speaker because you have more headroom and it just sounds better. And I didn't. I forgot, and I looked on the back, and this actually has a speaker out, so you could
put an external cab.
Yeah, and I also have this in the mini version, which is an AC4 with it's about this big, with a 6-inch speaker, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember.
So, what kind of music, Vanzini, are you playing these days? Can I ask? Through your gear.
Yeah, these days I'm playing much more kind of bluesy, fusiony kind of stuff. uh, and I spend most of my time doing that. And I like coming up with chord progressions and make backing tracks and things like that.
Wow.
So I
Yeah,
use
yeah.
Band in a Box a lot, and because it uses real instruments, so I can get all those background instruments as real instruments. So so
So you record those on your computer?
yeah,
So you do.
yeah, you
Not
arrange them.
not a
You just
Tascam 4-track.
no, but I have a couple of those around too.
Well done.
I have my cassette. I have my cassette
Somehow,
Tascam.
see,
Yeah,
it's a long shot, but
yeah.
bullseye.
I'm just waiting for that cassette one, to really go up in value so I can. Yeah, yeah. I have a few of
You
those. I
mean?
have a Boss 12 track, and yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 It's your
I bought one of
retirement
those
plan.
little micro recorders, ones that are smaller, about this size,
Hmm.
and it's like a 4 track, I think.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
my gosh, it really is impressive what it can do.
Yeah.
I
All
thought
right.
I
Have
remember
you?
I remember holding it in my hand, saying to myself, so this is roughly what the Beatles had on their first album. It's like a 4 track, and it's in the
Yep.
palm
Yeah.
of my
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah. Or
Yep.
yeah. Yeah.
You've hit the
Full
nail
track.
on the
Yeah.
head.
If you're lucky.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're exactly
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
yeah. So I like experimenting around with little bitty amps. I have solid state amps as well, and I'm moving more and more towards solid state. I find, especially for
Wait.
recording.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's that solid state technology now that they've got the modeling in a lot of the gear now. It's fantastic. It's brilliant.
yeah.
About 10 years ago, maybe even longer, I bought a Vox VT amp, and it had the early versions of some of the modeling amps, and it was 50-50. Some of the amps are pretty good, but some of them were just yeah, so far off the
Yeah,
mark. It was just yeah, bad.
mine's downstairs.
Oh, okay. So you've got okay, okay. So you know exactly. Yeah, yeah. But if you have a
Yeah,
look now on some of the Helix gear that a lot of guys use, I've got the Yamaha THR 30, which has got
I
some
have one. Yeah.
outstanding. Yeah.
What's scary? Well, you have the 30. No, I just have the 10. Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
That 30. The 10 has that. I don't know what it is. It's like stereo sound,
It's amazing.
and you listen to it and you think, oh, it sounds like it's coming from. It's
Yeah.
huge. It's
Yeah.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
one amp
I,
I could just sit there and strum a D chord all day, and just listen to that quality is
yeah.
amazing. So
Yeah. I recently tried the new Fender Tone Masters. The transistor
oh
versions
yes,
of the
yeah.
Blues Deluxe and the Twin. Really good, really good. Yeah.
Oh
If I was,
okay.
as I've said this on here, if I was a gigging musician, that would be the one I'd take out because it's
Excuse me.
one. It's £25, so the old back doesn't suffer, and it has 95% of the sound. Really
Wow.
good. I was really impressed by it as a thing. I can't, there is obviously a little bit of a difference, but to be honest, if you're playing in a band live, no one's ever going to know. You might notice a bit if you were in a studio, possibly, but to be honest, if you were out on the road, no moving parts, no glass, things to
Yeah.
break, all that kind of malarkey. Oh, I'd be all about it if I was a gigging musician like that.
Well, by golly, I'm going to go look at one of those when the stores open back up.
Well, yeah, they are absolutely worth a go. They really are because the sound is really good, and I thought I beat them. I had the proper valve one and the Tone Master one. I was really impressed. And you just say to yourself, as I say, if I was a gigging musician, that's what I'd take because it's £25.
Yeah.
Heft it around, no problems at all.
Yeah. Wow.
you know, got to grow muscles and stuff to start hefting £50 amps around and stuff like that, which is a bit of a
I'm a big. I don't know if you know who Johnny A is, but I'm a big Johnny A fan here in the States. And the first time I saw him, he used those Marshall Anniversary combos. They're
Yep.
like 100 watts in a small little
Okay.
combo set. And he had two of them. And he really shook the rafters. And then the second time I saw him, he had gone to kind of just going through the house system with some monitors, and it sounded just exactly. He used the old TC Electronic. I forget what it's called, but it's a big multi-board, and he added in his own drives to it. But I couldn't tell a bit of difference from using
Well, if you
amps
go on
to,
YouTube and have a look at Pete Anderson, so he's famous for
yes,
working with Dwight Yoakam early on. So
yeah,
Pete Anderson, all he uses is
he's
just
got
the old Line 6 pod farms.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
and he just hooks it into the front system.
He's
Hooks
a
his
he's a reverend uh, guy also.
Is he Pete Anderson?
Yeah.
Is he? Yeah, yeah.
and it's phenomenal the tones he gets just from a $200 pod farm.
Yeah. Well, I see somebody's asking about Brian May. I think Brian May. Yeah, he was like AC30s or something, wasn't he?
Yeah, no,
yeah.
he's a complete Vox AC30. He has
Yeah.
banks of them.
Stacks of them.
Yeah. Well done, Brian. That's good work. But it's yes, Arvin, you're right. You see, the Fender amps are taking all that modelling technology, but only modelled one sound. Which when you say really concentrate on just modelling that one, the Blues Deluxe sound or whatever it is, Fender Twin. And works. That's why it works really well, because you've taken all that technology they've got, the Mustang technology and all of that, and actually put it into, but only one thing, And I think that's a really clever piece of marketing by Fender, because you can see that they could then do, transistor modelling versions of every one of their amps, and they'll weigh 25 pounds. They've got 95% of the sound, and I think for lots of musicians, that is a real selling point. They're half the price as well.
And Fender came out. I mean, their first modeling amp was quite a ways back, 15 years ago.
Mustangs.
They were the first guys to bring out.
They made a bigger. I went to see the Fender Roadshow in the town next door to me, and it was Greg Koch and Roscoe Beck on bass. And
Wow.
I got entertained for about a little over an hour for free.
Excellent.
And then got to talk to Roscoe. That was pretty cool. So yeah. And so he was demoing that amp, and I remember just saying, man, I can't tell that it's not a tube amp, and that was 15
That's
years
correct.
ago. I don't remember what amp it was.
Yeah, so some of that would be great. I mean, I had quite a good go on a Mustang 3, not the 4. A guitarist I was in a band with a while ago, he had one, and I sort of thought about buying it, but the embarrassing thing is I'm not really a fan of the Fender sound.
Oh, really?
I discovered it's like I don't really like that mid-scoop sound. It's like I went back by Dave, the bass player in the band. He and I have a little duo, and I went in and I took it I said, I don't like this very much. He's like, what do you mean? I said, I don't like these Fender sounds. Is that what it sounds? And what I realised that kind of,
I love them.
I got a PV Delta Blues, which is quite a different amp. Yeah, it's quite, it's got a 15-inch speaker, but it's quite, it has a quite rounded sound. And kind of, but anyway, and I borrowed it. Broke a while back, a couple of years ago.
Oh.
And Mr. Steve Treble, he lent me a Rivera amp. Rivera. He used to work for Fender.
Yeah.
And he had his own company. It was a beautiful amp. My God, it was
I think did he help start Music Man amps too?
He might have done. I don't know. Paul Rivera, not Paul Revere.
Yeah.
Paul Rivera. I don't know, it was a club store or something like that. But anyway, Steve lent this guitar to me, and because it didn't have the same kind of cut as my PV has, I kept turning it up because it's all sounded a bit mellow and kind of like, why can't I hear it? So I kept turning it up, and it was like, people go, that's pretty loud. Yeah, but it's not really loud where I am. Stupid idiot. And of course that's based on a Fender sound, and I was like, do I not like the Fender sound? This kind of terrible kind of 62-year-old realization that I thought it's all. I think this is a good idea. I need to do something else.
And that was that guitar player I was talking about earlier, Johnny A. He used these Marshalls.
Yeah.
And if you said Marshall to me up till 15 years, whenever I first found him, 15, 20 years ago, I would have thought, oh, distortion, right away. And here he was playing. I never thought about a clean Marshall sound. And here he was running through these Marshalls and just an absolute pristine, clean, wonderful sound.
Yeah.
For some of his music.
Were they 100-watt? Were they big ones, Vanzinni, or were they little ones?
They were 100-watt anniversary models, which is a combo. Not very big. Yeah. You would think it would fall apart after a while, but
of course, if I say this, that if I think about it, because I said on here, I had a high watt 100-watt and a 412 cab, and the interesting thing about that, it was that at 3 or 4 on the volume, it was pristine clean. To get it to kind of to get some crunch, you had to put it up to 7.
Yeah.
And then it would start to crunch, and I guess that's the same with those 100-watt Marshalls that at what I would call a reasonable volume.
Yeah.
Actually, you almost certainly my Fender, it was what happens. The Fender doesn't drive the amp very much, so it was pristine and clean. My guess is that those amps, because they have such headroom, that if you only put them up to 4 or 5, that actually you're not driving them. So what you get is you get
pushing the tubes at all.
No, you're not pushing the tubes, and that if you want to do, if you want to do that drive, you have to crank the thing up to 7, 7 or 8 to get it to overdrive. I mean, it is obviously if you think about it, or if I think about it, that it's the reason why Jimi Hendrix had a fuzz pedal and stuff like that. It's because you crank them right up, and you want more. You want some drive with your Strats, remember? Because actually it's still pretty clean sound. So you think to yourself, oh yeah, actually that does probably work. So if as I say, if you've got those 2 Marshall 100-watt heads with cabs, that actually if you're only playing them on 4 or 5, which believe me, in a club is be quite loud enough for anything. That high watt 100-watt I had was hilarious. You had to put it on about 1, to go with the band.
Johnny was interesting because he went from these pristine, clean tones like a Wichita lineman as an instrumental.
Yeah.
Then he would do his Jimmy Jam, which was a Jimmy Page Hendrix, the 2 Jimmys, jam, which would just blast your ears off. And I thought, boy, he's really got that. He just had it dialed in so perfectly well. So.
But in a sense, you just do, nowadays, you go, here's my clean sound, and then if I want distortion or overdrive, you just have pedals, don't you? You just put a pedal in it, and it'll take the pedal beautifully, and it'll overdrive really nicely from the pedal.
Yeah.
Which is all of it. But in the in the late 60s, in a sense, that's the going back to the beginning. That's the Eric Clapton thing, isn't it? Eric Clapton asked Jim Marshall to build him 50-watt combos, a combo anyway, so he could put in his car, and then what he did was he had his Les Paul and he cranked it, turned it right up, and said to the engineer, put the microphone 15 feet away as if you're in the audience, and we'll get the sound. That's how he recorded it.
Yeah,
which is amazing to me.
Yeah,
that's how it worked.
So are you playing the bass at all, Vanzinni, still? Because you mentioned earlier that you were a bass player, so you haven't shown us any basses.
I don't. I have one handy here. It's kind of a I don't have any real fancy. I just bought a new Mustang bass back about a year ago, because as a kid that was the kind of the short scale bass, and so I suspected maybe even in my youth I had some arthritis or something because they just felt better. And when I played my brother's jazz bass, by the end of the night I felt like I was really, I'd really had a workout. So I have one handy here, and it's a
Sonia,
cheapie.
whilst
It's also
Sonia, I don't. I keep my factory speaker in my PV Delta Blues, which is the only amp I've got. Sorry, Vanzini, I'm just answering a question from Sonia, who's asked me, do I keep the factory speakers or do I have preferred? I have no intelligence about a preferred speaker, Sonia. That may go down that route in the future, but right now, no. I have the standard factory speaker in my PV Delta Blues, which is the only amp I have.
I'm that way too.
Sorry.
Well, I watch other people swap out speakers and talk about how much better it is. And I've got a very inexpensive Fender 112 cab that sounds wonderful. I've got a Vox AC10 with a 10-inch speaker that I would use recording with no trouble at all.
There we are. Look at that.
Wow. So that's a short scale bass.
It is indeed. It's a Jazz Master style
Wow.
bass.
So what does here's my rookie question. What does short scale mean? Does it mean it's got the neck is shorter? It's got less frets.
A normal bass is about, oh gosh, now you're pressing my memory. I think a 34-inch scale.
34.
Right.
Yep.
And the shorter scale ones are about 30. And I've got a little Gretsch around. So here's the thing. I bought this from a kid going to college for $150.
Wow.
And the trick is, and he was very honest with me, he lost money on it. He swapped out the original pickups, and I have the original pickups, and put some, I don't know what they are. I don't know anything about bass pickups at all. But he put in some pretty expensive, I think he said the set cost him a couple $100. And he's turned around and sold it for $150. And he even put a nice, I think this is his work. There's even a nice on the headstock that's upside down, but you can see the fender. But here's the giveaway.
On the plate.
Yes.
On the neck plate.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Squire.
Yeah.
But he did a nice job.
I did know. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a fake.
A fake fender.
A fake fender that
not really.
He said he got the decal off of eBay, and
that's right.
Actually,
it's just modding, isn't it?
Yeah.
You didn't try and pass it off as something it wasn't to you, which is right.
But it's a very thin neck. My first bass was it was my older brother's first bass, and he traded it in on his jazz bass. And when I came along about 3 years later, it came back up for sale. So both he and I have the same first bass.
Wow!
And that was a very inexpensive Framus. Framus imported into the U.S. and they weren't real high end, but they had necks at least as thin, if not thinner, than the Hofner neck on the bass. And this is very close to that. This is a very thin neck. So I like the thin, short scale bass. And tonally,
sorry, Vanzini. So when you were first starting playing the bass, were you going through guitar amps, or did you have specific bass amps back in the 60s, early 70s?
Well, I got to use my brother was nice enough to let me use his bass amp, which was a Gibson. His first one was a Magnatone. And I don't remember what my first bass amp was. And then he had a Gibson, I don't know what we call them piggybacks, but they were a head and a speaker cabinet. And the head actually fit on, it was an Atlas 4. Gibson Atlas 4, I think. And I forget what my other brother had. He had the lead version, was a 212. Terribly underpowered amps. But and then we went to Sun amps. Because Sun amps were made right here in Oregon and were quite popular everywhere. So
Vanzini, Magnatone amps. Obviously, Billy Gibbons using Magnatone amps, and
they came back out with them a few years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, as a sort of, I mean, I would associate Magnetones as being quite boutique, but it sounds to me like when you started buying them in the early '60s, they weren't boutique. They were
No.
just. Is that right? Is it they kind of went
The one,
boutique?
That's correct.
the ones my brothers had were a new version, which had a plastic, the control panel on top. If you look at the Magnetone, I think Buddy Holly's
Oh, he had a
was,
Magnetone, did he? How
eh, eh,
interesting. Yeah, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was more like a tweed, And the new ones that came out had a plastic covering over the top of them where all the
Neil,
controls were. And
Neil Young's got a couple of them too. He loves
that's
them as
what
well.
those amps.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I think the bass amp was called an M15. Why do I know this? An M15, and the lead amps were an M12 or something like that. So
let's have a look. So Buddy Holly's was a 58 Magnetone Custom 280.
Yeah, it was much older. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you a photograph of it. It's pretty funky.
Yeah. Well, gosh, what's the magazine? Vintage Guitar actually got to do a whole review on that amp.
That's not going to work. Right, there you are, Andrew. There you go. That's
Yes.
Buddy Holly's amp. Two 210s or 212s, and the little tweeter in the.
Oh yeah.
What's that? Yeah, you could just see.
So is it true that they were the American version to a Vox? That they were.
The Magnetones?
Yes.
Well, we didn't have Vox back then, so I never thought of it that way. I think by the time the Beatles hit and Vox came in, most people didn't play Magnetones.
They must have been just clean amps alternatives to what's it called?
Yeah.
What's it called?
Yeah, Fender. Everybody used Fenders by that time.
Even
Gibson
the early Voxes, they were all clean amps. It wasn't until they got that tone boost units on that tone boost circuit where they could actually crunch it up. Yeah. But those Magnetone amps are collector's items now. I don't think that they were boutique, Simon. I think they were just like like Fenders or
Yeah,
they were just the same as a small Gibson or a small.
Oh yeah. No, well that was the tenet of my question, because my only sort of up until now, my only recollection or my knowledge about Magnetone is that Billy Gibbons plays them, which means that they look like a sort of the modern ones. They look like kind of boutique, kind of American made.
Oh, the modern
hand wired amps, Yeah, which obviously, if you've got a bunch of young lads playing them, it didn't sound like they were, unless you were all rich, it didn't sound like they were all kind of boutique amps in the.
No, not back then they
60s.
weren't.
No.
I think now the new ones are boutique amps, and I think they have prices to prove it, if I'm not mistaken. So
probably yes.
Yeah.
And I think I read somewhere recently that Billy Gibbons is involved in that company somehow, financially. Whether or not he's a shareholder, but he's involved in that company. But on that DVD, isn't it amazing? So they're in their rehearsal room, and he's got a wall of Magnetone amps there, and he's still getting that lovely crunch, isn't he?
Yeah. The new ones I've heard are just great. Yeah.
But you're right, though. They're fantastic. Bloody expensive.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I didn't spot it because you can't see it, but the one I just showed you's got two 12-inch speakers and two tweeters. Each 12-inch speaker's got a tweeter. There is one on the other side.
That would have been loud back in the day.
Yeah.
Would it be? Yeah, probably. Yeah. Be interesting to have a tweeter as well. Just like, the little in the corners.
Capture those highs. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a kind of
Especially with this
stereo vibrato.
It would have sounded bloody good.
It's got amazing. Sorry, I'm just looking at a picture of it on my Chromebook, because it's got like a stereo vibrato, which apparently is quite whizzy. Speaker controls and all sorts of that. So it's got 4 or 8 ohms by the looks of it. You can do 2 remote speakers, so you go bloody mental with this thing. God, 2 remote speaker thing. Yes, look at that. That's what you call stereo spread. Or
Doesn't matter where you stand in the room, you're going deaf.
Well, you gotta get it, man. I've got more
Yeah.
speakers than you could round up in a field. Yeah, yeah. It's got 2 channels. So, yeah, amazing. Yeah, it does look amazing.
Oh, I didn't know that. Prince played a Hofner, or I remember him playing what I thought was a Strat, a Hofner or a Hohner. Hohner was a they made guitars. They probably still do. I don't know, but of course, mostly we know
Hohner,
them as a harmonica.
German.
Yes, I believe German. Yeah.
Wow, look at that. One of those Magnatone amps would have cost you. It's going to cost you $395.
Wow.
So if you the Fender's top models at the time with the Bassman and the Twin sold for $339. So they're more expensive than Fenders.
Oh wow.
But look how much more they had.
Yeah, there's a guy that collects them up in Portland. He's kind of known as the Magnatone collector, and he talks about how the problems that they have on the ones my brothers had, that they have to go into the shop quite often for this, that, or the other thing. So.
Wow. Yeah. That's fantastic. Yeah. That's very cool. But yeah, as I say, I didn't realise that they went back that far. See, learn something new every day, don't you?
Yeah. So I got rid of all my expensive guitars because I just was afraid I would scratch them.
What expensive ones did you have, Vanzini?
I had a real top of the line Taylor, top dollar. At the time I paid $2,500 for it.
Wow. Yeah,
and I had a nice Gibson. I can never remember the model. EC 185 Blues King with the single cutaway, all maple, curly maple.
So jazz type guitar.
No, that was an acoustic also.
Oh, okay, yeah.
On the jazz side, I had a ES 137 Custom and a ES 165 Herb Ellis, and they sounded wonderful. They were laminate guitars, but they still sounded wonderful. But I just didn't feel comfortable. And I bought an Ibanez version of a jazz box, and I thought, this thing's like $500. If I bang it, I don't care, And it sounded, once you put the flat wound 11 gauge strings, it sounded very close to the Gibson. So.
Yeah.
But I had old ones. I had a 48 Gibson L50. I don't a Charlie Christian ES 150. That was a 50. I want to say a 51. And then
yeah.
And then an ES 125 was a. Gosh, I don't. Was that I think a 56? I think something of that sort. And they all had, they all dry. The wood dries out, and they had repairs. I should have bought a dozen of them because, as usual, I try to buy high and sell low, and am quite successful at that. Now they're worth twice what I paid for them 20 years ago or 25. So
just so you're interested, guys in the chat, that's an ES 185, 150.
Awesome. And the 125 was identical to that.
Blues.
Yeah, the 150 had a solid top, and the 125 was all laminate. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
Single P90.
Mine had a P90. The original ones came with that Charlie Christian blade pickup, and I didn't see any signs of damage, so I don't know if they made versions of them with a P90. But my 125 had a P90, as did the 150, or something. I assumed was a P90-ish.
This one, Vanzini, is on reverb for the princely sum of £1,661 12 pence.
Yeah, so that's about
from
700.
Holly Heck Music, Sonoma, California.
Yeah. It's about 700 more than I paid for mine, but Should have held on to it.
Frustratingly, yes.
Well, I came out, on most of those I came out pretty even because there's so many people out there wanting those old guitars. So, and the L50 is basically a ES 150 without a pickup, just a straight acoustic. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Lovely.
how long did you have guitars for, Vanzini?
I'm sorry, what?
How long did you have those guitars for?
Oh, I think I had the L50. I played it more than any of them because I just would use it sitting around the home and just loved it. So I had it probably for 7 or 8 years. The ES 150 had some body repair, and I kept it for like just over a year, and decided to get maybe a year and a half, something like that, get rid of it. And the 125 I had for probably 3 years.
Awesome.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. If I could break in,
You bet.
Vanzini, Kubrick lover. Yeah, it has. Prince had a Mad Cat Hohner Telecaster.
Really?
Which, yeah, hold on, I'll just take a photograph.
Yeah, I remember him playing a. I just assumed it was a Fender.
No, it's that. It's not a great picture. Sorry, it's not a great picture, but
Yeah.
that is a Hohner Telecaster.
Yeah, that's right, Hohner. Sorry, I called it a Tesco, but yeah, so that's just a cheap
Mad Cat Hohner, yeah.
cheap Telecaster that he had right through his career. So when he was a multi-millionaire, when he could have had all the custom shop tallies he wanted, he still kept that one.
I had a real cheap Hohner acoustic, and you couldn't break it, and it played great, and it would have been a great campfire guitar to go play around the campfire.
Yeah. He had several of them apparently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
he played them a lot. Obviously liked them for some reason, but yeah, nice top. But yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't realise you see, it so proves it, doesn't it? This is where the tone is, chaps. But got bad news for you. $5,000 guitar or whatever. You've got. It doesn't matter. It's if you're a great player, then you'll make a great sound out of a $50 guitar, $500 guitar, or a $5,000 guitar. You might like the 5,000 one feel wise better or whatever, but in terms of sound wise, you're you can get it. I agree with that entirely. That you get your sound, and that's your sound, isn't it? And I've said it on here before. I went on that Guitar Breaks holiday, and I took my Japanese Strat the first time I went, and I had a chance to A/B it against a 66 Strat. So the CBS one, but early one, and stuff like that,
about the same.
Well, there was a difference. There was definitely there was a difference. It was kind of, if mine was, the best way I can describe it is, if mine was like that, the 66 was like that in terms of sound. So it was a bit bigger, but through the same amp, same everything, I can plug one and plug the other one in, which was really good fun actually. But it was a difference. But I didn't come away thinking, well, mine's rubbish. That I'm really disappointed. I came away thinking, do you know what? It's a pretty decent guitar, that. And everybody who plays it thinks it's a pretty decent guitar. So and absolutely there was a difference. And £20,000 guitar as opposed to my £500 but £400 guitar. I'd hope there was a difference. But as ever with these things, law of diminishing returns. It wasn't 20 times better, 25 times better.
And that's what I find. And especially when it gets down, since I don't play, even playing live when you're in the mix, nobody's going to really know. And recording wise, I think you can get away with murder once you're recording. You can really.
Well, these days it's you would reamping and everything, and you can it doesn't you're getting a note down and you can do what you like with it afterwards, can't you? Because you've got so much. There's so much capacity for. For being able to change the sound, add, every kind of pedal, that you want to add to it, to the sound, to change it, re-graphic it, reamp it, put distortion, overdrive, chorus, everything else on it.
Yeah. It's unlimited. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unlimited now. So I think.
Andrew, I see you were talking about the Prince guitar. Are you talking about like "While My Guitar Gently," the
Oh, there's a
solo?
guitar. There's a couple of clips on YouTube, Vanzini, of Prince playing a guitar solo at a George Harrison tribute concert, and he just about falls off stage. But he's playing there with, I forget, Tom Petty's there as well. But a lot of people forget that Prince is a very, very good guitar player. He's an
That's right.
outstanding guitar
That's
player.
right.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. And he seemed to get better through the years. I mean, he
It's a
just.
shame. It's a shame.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with electric. What is strawberry? What's the name of his mansion?
Paisley Park.
Paisley Park. It'll be interesting to see what they do with that, because he was recording every day. So apparently he's got vaults of music. So whether or not his sister's ever going to get around to releasing it or get the manager in there, we don't know.
It was while my guitar gently weeps. Yeah, yeah.
A slightly better picture of you can see it's just about. See, it's got a very nice top to it.
Yep.
Yeah. But pretty much a standard Telecaster.
Yeah.
Setup. Right? Yeah.
Probably plays great.
Yeah.
He did a song a day. Yeah, Kubrick lover knows because he's a Prince nut.
Did he a song a day? Did he? Yeah. Wow. I can imagine, because he could play all the instruments himself. It's a case of going and with your own studio, just go in there and crack on, don't you?
Phenomenal.
I mean, I guess, that I guess the quality is there for, is probably variable, but throw enough mud at a wall and some of it will stick. I believe is the phrase. I agree with you. Prince is a phenomenal guitar player. Kubrick lover is questioning your assertion that he's a Prince nut. You are now, Kubrick lover. You've been we've labelled you.
I'm sure he mentioned in the chat earlier on some shows that he loves Prince. Maybe I'm getting you mixed up with someone else then.
Well, I was late to recognizing him. I admit it. I actually saw him. He did, I think it was the Super Bowl halftime.
And, okay.
I usually don't watch. That's right. And I was watching, and I was thinking, holy moly, this guy is really, really good. And I didn't remember him being that good. And then I saw him. I saw that George Harrison thing as well, and was really impressed with his playing ability. Yeah.
2007, he did the halftime show at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I discovered him when I was about 14 or 15. A very good friend of mine told me that I should listen to this tape, and it was a copy of 1999. And back then, when I was 14 or 15, I was listening to the Stones, Van Halen. I wasn't listening to Prince. And Little Red Corvette was the first song that I listened to, and I thought, holy cow, it's pretty good. And then, you find out a little bit later that he actually played all those instruments himself. The band that he had, in the videos, they were just a touring band.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. And that's the thing, isn't it? He can play everything, to such a high standard. He could, recall all those things himself. I can't remember when I first came across him, but he obviously he had hits in the. I obviously read about him.
Would have been in the 80s, Simon, when he became Raspberry Beret and When Doves Cry.
Kiss, and, really.
He was just like everywhere there for a couple of years, dominating the. And what's really interesting is that was pop music.
Yeah.
Prince was pop music.
Yeah, amazing. It's that's really, really cool.
And sing Kubrick, obviously.
yeah, and singing as well. Apparently, dancing, singing, playing a guitar,
Yeah,
playing every
It
other
was,
instrument.
you hit the nail on the head there, Simon. He was an entertainer as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Amazing kind of thing. Just having a look, see if I can see when his first UK hit was. Off the top of my head, 83, 82.
Wow.
But, yeah, I mean, I guess that's where he would have come to my attention, as you say, because he's part of the pop music of his time. Prince, doing all that did that amazing stuff that he did.
Well, we've just ticked 2 hours, gentlemen. So,
really? Wow.
Yeah.
only to see 2 hours.
So
Flies by.
I'm going to say, guys, thank you.
Thank you.
I've got to go to work in half an hour.
I think you can. You're still going to work?
I'm going to. Yeah. I work from home. Great.
Oh, okay.
So
I see.
I'm a civil servant.
I
for the
see.
government.
Yeah.
So so I'm very lucky. My job continues regardless of where I am. So I just set my computer up here instead of all my kit I've got to do this, and I know I'm at work, which is fine. Works very nicely, thank you.
Yeah.
But
Will you come back again, Greatvanzinni, and join us?
Bring some more guitars. Bring your Reverend guitars.
I'll dig them back out. I just did the videos on them in the last 2 weeks, and so I put them.
Oh, cool.
I'm terrible. I put guitars away and then I forget to. I really love those guitars though. Those are the ones if the house was burning down, for playability, those are the ones I would run out the door with.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And we're lucky because next week we're going to have Sonia on. So
Sonia's coming on.
I look forward to that. Yeah.
But look, in another week's time, Greatvanzinni, if you want to get some of your reverends together and jump on and do part 2 with us.
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I would be glad to.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I enjoyed it. It was. It was great.
Everybody's sorry. My internet's going a bit funny. You went to kind of robotic. Granzy's great. Yeah. So I'll just say thanks to Arvin in the chat. Kubrick lover, Sonia. Yeah, guys. Thanks for joining. Dave as well. Dave. Wednesday store. You came in. I don't know if anyone else. Have I got everyone? It'd be embarrassing to miss somebody. But I think those are the people who've been. So yeah, thanks guys for joining in, and thanks Greatvanzinni.
You bet. Thank you so much, both Andrew, Simon,
cool.
both of you. Thank you.
Don't you two go away anywhere. I'm going to end the broadcast. So don't hang up yet.
All right. We'll see you later, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Out there.